Make plans for tomorrow, but live today. These were the words of my father, just a few days after the terrorists killed my brother. This happened, but I can't forget it. It was like yesterday. My brother had a dream to travel around Europe without borders, to live in a united Europe, but unfortunately, his dream won't become a reality. Because of it, I feel responsible to participate in creating one Europe only and make it my life mission. However, nowadays it's impossible for one simple guy from a little country in the Balkans, well known as Macedonia, to change something which will influence the decision making for something so important for our common future. Maybe that's why that the main word is said by the big players. They're making rules of the game. They play music, and the others must follow them. They try to convince me that it's too risky for the European Union if the Balkan country join it right now. Maybe they forgot that Europe is not the European Union only. And risk arise, trust me, just because of ignorance. Somebody of you here do not know that Macedonian people are very, very good. If you don't believe me, just come and visit us. You know where we are. Tell me people, do you really think that the Balkan region is the major problem in Europe? It's not true. In fact, the major problem is that no one of you has that united Europe dream. Unfortunately, it's true. In the first day when I came here in Alpbach, I met such a beautiful girl. And I think I met her at the entrance and asked her, "Where are you from?" She said, "I'm from Austria." She didn't say that she is from Europe. That is not the case in the United States of America, where everybody feels American. I understand. Every one of us has emotions for his own country. But often we put our own interest before the common European interest. Whenever we speak about our priorities, we all have to fight against terrorism, against organized crime, not to fight against each other. All neighbor countries have problems concerning their territory, their languages, or their national identities. It's very sad. Maybe one day everything will be changed for the better. I'm optimist. Do you know why? Because the optimist and the pessimist may die on the same day. But believe me, they don't live the same way. I want all of us to look toward the sun, but we have to be careful that it does not blind us. I wish to live in one country with you, from Reykjavik to Istanbul, and from the North Sea to the Adriatic Sea. It will be the day when my brother's dream will become a reality. We are expecting that day. Until then, we can do just one thing only. At this point, just a simple thing can make us braver and more successful. Just one thing. Let's give each other a hand and wish that we make it one Europe only.
You could think of the European Union as a spaceship. So it's cruising there through the infinite space, and somehow it has lost its direction, and at some point something incredible suddenly happens. The engine stops. So the commanders of this spaceship, they sit together in endless meetings. It takes about 5 years, and they try to solve the problem. They do it from several angles, and at some point they realize that they have to speak to their bases at home. So they call their people in Europe and say, "Europe, we've got a problem." And Europe answers them. Well, you know what? We looked on your path on the radar, and we saw that you were going a strange zigzag. We weren't able to see what you're doing, but we definitely know that you didn't follow our advice and you didn't respect our voice. So guess what? We took the remote control that you recently gave us to stop the engine. And that is where Europe is right now. It is stuck, and it has lost the trust of its people. During the last decades, a small group of people with very progressive thoughts that I personally agree upon designed the European Union as a union of an elitist part of the society, not taking into consideration the will of a silent majority. And right now, we are at the turning point. Europe can no longer afford to overrule the will of a silent majority. They have to listen to their people, with all the consequences involved of this. And while some nation-states member states want to integrate further, others are afraid of the United States of Europe. And to accommodate these differences, Europe has to allow different speeds of progress. And there are a lot of historic examples, such as the Schengen Agreement or the Euro, which I named before, which shows that if a small group that wants to have more progress goes ahead and shows the other what this can bring, if it comes to the point, it's like the economic crisis, a lot of countries say, that's a good policy, I want to follow this one, and they jump upon the train to go a joint journey towards progress. And think of what makes Europe such a unique place. It's the diversity of its people, still united but diverse. And therefore, I think the European model of policy making should reflect this diversity and thereby allow different speeds to get the engine running again. Thank you.
I have the special honor to deliver my speech with the title, The Tragic Comedy of One Europe Only in 3 Acts. Let's start with Act 1, the tragedy. In November 1956, the director of the Hungarian news agency, shortly before his office was flattened by artillery fire, sent a telegram to the rest of the world with a desperate message announcing that the Russian attack against Budapest has begun. The aftermath of this anecdote is well known. Geographic Europe becomes a bipolar cultural and political space divided among a vertical east and west axis. Needless to say, the situation has changed. The Iron Curtain has been torn down, and the Eastern and Southeastern European countries have found their way home. That is exactly the crux of the matter. Even today, Eastern and Western Europe refer to a divided regions in our mind map loaded with history and emotions. Act 2, the comedy. After having watched the downhill ski race in Kitzbühel and being thrilled by Austria's mountain scenery and Hermann Mayer, family Djurjevic from Serbia decides to go skiing to Salzburg. They plan to spend a lot of money on plane tickets, hotel, and other touristic activities. Clearly, they will not contribute to Austria's GDP and will most probably not engage in extensive criminal activities, apart from a tipsy last descent on the slope after having successfully understood what après-ski is all about. Why does family Djurjevic need a visa? And why do they need to fear that their application might not be accepted? Why do they need a visa for spending a fortune in Austria after all? In conclusion, ending the visa regime for all countries of Eastern and Southeastern European countries must stay a top priority on our agenda. Last but not least, final act, syntactic amendments and conclusion. Let me get back to tonight's theme of the evening, the catchy phrase, one Europe only. As you have all read on the invitations and flyers, the motto is formulated as a question with a question mark. The answer to this question, one Europe only, is an unfortunate no. Next, I would like to reformulate the interrogation to an exclamation, saying, yes, one Europe only. We will not give up on the maybe romantic dream of a united one Europe. Alpbach serves as a best practice model for one Europe only, with an exclamation mark. Our generation should fight with all means that it stays like this. Thank you for your attention.